Right. Before we go, got to handle some non-league news because we don't really touch upon that too much. But a couple of things that have come up this week. First things first, Cheshunt FC talking about paid trials of £30. So they're running trials for their development centre, and again, pay £30. You get your £30 back if you make the squad, and if you don't, then you get advised to what step and what level you are at. Big fuss on socials. People are not having it. £30 for paid trials from a step two club, is it? Step three club?
Cheshunt a
Yeah,
step three. Step
step
three.
three. So yeah, it's looking a bit crazy out here. People are people are like, what's the £30 for? What's this all this for? What, just to tell me what level I'm
Admin
at?
fee, right? It's an admin fee, right?
Registration fee, yeah, man. Does that sound about right to you?
No. I am listen, this is uh it's a bit it's a bit of an awkward one because listen, I don't need to be careful with what I say, but I need to be careful with the implications of what I say. Uh
Yeah. Think
some
about your words
clubs can
now.
get huh? Listen, some clubs can get away with doing things like this, others cannot.
Mm,
Um, Cheshunt clearly are one of those teams that can get away with doing that. Listen,
mm,
everyone's got overheads to cover, especially when your budget isn't amazing. Sometimes you've got to try and fill the blanks and fill the gaps. Got to try and find some sort of revenue somehow. And let's face it, these clubs are not going to be short on football CVs. People
mm,
calling up for trials, sending emails and DMs, yada yada yada. So why make a trial day cost you money when you can actually turn it into something where you can make money? Now the
mm,
difference is that I'm not a big fan of making money off of people's hopes and dreams.
mm,
When somebody comes for a trial, they should be there on merit. They should be there because there's something about them that you've liked or something that's piqued your interest. So you call them in for a proper trial, not just a training session where you listen. Let's get it right. They're going to turn up. They're going to do doggies for 45 minutes, and then they're going to play a rondo game, and then expect people to go and play at their best in a full match afterwards. Like it's just listen, non-league mentality stuff, man. It's pathetic. But look, I get it. Sometimes it needs to happen. I just don't. I'm not a big fan of playing games with people's money when it comes to their passions and their desires and their dreams. People are really trying to push on and sort of make a career for themselves, and it's taking advantage. In my opinion, I do feel like it's taking advantage. Um, that's all I'm going to say on it.
okay.
It's taking advantage.
Is it?
It is. It's taking advantage. It's the same way you see a lot of these agents that are out there doing a madness. Uh, you know, getting players to pay them £50, £60, £100. Yeah, I'll get you into this club. I'll get you into that club. It's scandalous stuff, man. It is genuinely. It is really just like bottom of the barrel behaviour from some of these agents. So I don't. This is not exactly like that from Cheshunt,
Mm.
but I can't help but feel like there's some similarities there. So, yeah.
I was gonna say, just playing devil's advocate, is it any different from what academies do, or some of these academies do, or whatever? Because at least they're an established club that you could potentially play for, whereas like academies all charge heaven and earth and say that they've got all these contacts, all these links to who, there, and everywhere, and come through with nothing. At least if you do make it, you've got potential of playing for a step three club.
Um, well, the likelihood is, look, the way that non-league recruitment goes is quite often there's not really many players that managers haven't heard of or other players haven't heard of. This is the who you know game, not just the how good you are game. There's a lot of guys that have been knocking around for many years, journeyman, club journeyman, so to speak. They'll go from one club to another, and that's generally how it works. It's who you know, who you've played with. The likelihood of them bringing someone that they don't know is slim to none. So when you host these trials, you know full well you're not really planning on signing anyone. it's like, yeah, fine. You might find one player that you might invite in on a trial, on a proper trial. Otherwise, what actually is it that's going on? This is not really a talent ID. This is money making. And I wouldn't even be shocked if this was not something that was even really being run properly by the club. And again, I'm not trying to throw mud on the coaching staff's name here, but generally speaking, that some of the things that I've seen in the pro game, when dealing with other guys from recruitment, they will run their own private talent ID days, and everyone's got to pay £20 to play in this match or £30 to play in this match. And next thing you know, you turn around and there's 40 players on one team, 40 players on another team. Everyone gets sort of 7-8 minutes, and it's just like, what? Like, what's going on? I think they're just. It's scandalous stuff. If I'm honest, there's a lot of things that happen in football that just shouldn't be able to happen. There's so much of it that's unregulated. The one-to-one coaching, these dodgy trials, these fake academies. It's a problem. It is genuinely, it's a problem. All I would say to people that are watching is, don't lose faith. There are still really good people in football. Listen, I certainly make sure that I behave in an acceptable manner, in an exceptional manner, and make sure that I'm beyond reproach when it comes to my own behaviour, certainly when I'm in and amongst the pro scene. So don't lose faith. There are still good people out there that are trying to do good things. It's just they are far and few between. See, that's the issue with non-league football, is that it's like you've got a lot of just very normal people, and not very qualified people. And when you're not very qualified, you know that you've kind of got a bit of a ceiling. There's only so far you can go. And to ensure that you're able to keep doing this thing that you love to do, you still need to make a bit of money. So that's where kind of like the lack of integrity sort of comes in. And if they can save a bit of money and get another player, they'll get rid of a player. If they can make a bit of money by hosting a trial, one of them ones, then they'll do that. And it's the same for like all of these independent academies and stuff. Some of them are charging £600 to £800 a year, £1,000 a year, even some of them. What do they get? And the thing is, listen, the parents are to blame. The parents are to blame because they actually allow these people to sell them a dream. Personally, if you go to any football club that needs to brag and boast about one or two players that they've had signed into an academy, or you see all these Premier League badges everywhere, all these pro club badges, anywhere that's got decent coaching, good people, like, guys that are really good at what they do. They're proper football people. They don't need to do all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like they don't need to oversell. They don't need to oversell it like that. So yeah. Anyway, listen, I kind of went off on a bit of a tangent, but that's unfortunately it's just the football industry. So what Cheshunt are doing is no different to what other people I've seen other teams do. So I don't knock them for it. It's just not for me. I personally wouldn't do it. I think it's taking advantage of people when you start to charge money for something that you're going to get a high application rate. So it's just like you see it, like you can't. It's like opportunistic. So it's just not for me, man. It's bottom of the barrel behaviour for me. It's not something that I would want to be a part of. So nah, I think it's horrible.
Well, that's your opinion, man. I mean, there's some good people at Cheshunt. Shout out to people at Cheshunt. Just make sure you invite me back. Maybe not Apple, but yeah, make sure you invite me.
No, listen, Cheshunt is a very, very good football club and a very well-run football club. So I think that's the part of the reason why people are very shocked, because it's a very good, well-run football club.
Yeah.
Like, we don't need to do that. There are some, like I said, there are some clubs that can get away with doing that. I think Cheshunt are one of those clubs that can get away with doing that because they are such a well-run team or such a well-run club. I don't think Cheshunt have ever done anything that's kind of brought them under any kind of investigation or speculation for like malpractice or misconduct. So I feel like this is the only reason why people have kind of reacted a little bit like, what, really? Because it's such a well-run club. I'm actually quite surprised that they would do that personally. But listen, I also understand in the flip side, from a business sense, it's been tough. This last 3-4 years have been tough for everybody. Even just trying to keep the lights on, the cost of electricity, everything, even having the lights on in the clubhouse now is going to cost an arm and a leg. So it's just, listen, I don't own a football club. Not one of that size. So I couldn't possibly say, what the running costs are, but I would imagine it's not cheap, especially when you've got to pay players and travel and this and that and equipment and, VO cameras and this, that. Listen, there's modern football, there's a big demand now. And I guess there's a reason why the English non-league system is the best in the world. So,
yeah.
Do you know what? I find myself, while I'm talking, kind of, I'm not going back on what I'm saying, but being a bit more understanding. It's just, it just leaves a bitter taste in my mouth. I just don't like it. But listen, it is what it is.
Yeah. All right. Let's end on a.
Don't apply.
Yeah, exactly that. Let's end on a positive note. So shout out to Rayners Lane, who have got promoted 1-2-0 in the playoffs. So they're now up to the Premier Division.
One gave us a fucking hope, did they? Not a fucking hope, okay?
And me as well.
We are the biggest fucking group of misfits I've ever managed in my life, right? But I tell you something from the bottom of my heart, for a year in the making this is, we are going up.
Say we are going up. We are going up. Say we are going up. We are going up. Say we are going up. We are going up. Say we are going up.
So shout out to them. Just want to give them some praise. It's been a tough road for them, but fantastic club, fantastic facilities.
Another well-run club.
Yeah, always made to feel welcome when I go down there. Shout out to some of the players that I've known down there. I'm sure you know a lot of the staff down there as well. So just wanted to give them their flowers, basically.
Another well-run club. Congratulations to them. I would look. I think there's a bit of a trajectory for them as well. I would imagine Rayners Lane will find themselves in step 4, step 3, very, very quickly. Very, very quickly with their facilities, the way that the club is run. Listen, it's a very well-run football club. Very good area as well in terms of drawing players. They could have also a very, very good education program if they really put time and effort into it. So I would say that's a club that's going to be on the up over the next 3-4 years. Don't be shocked if you see them in step 3 and then probably pushing on to go step 2. Listen, they've got all the resources without having millions, but they've got all the resources and all the local support that they need. So listen, big up Rayners Lane, man.